I just finished watching the movie Runaway, which a lot of you watching might not even remember exists. I was clicking around on streaming services looking for something to watch, and I came across something with Tom Selleck. So, out of curiosity, I opened up IMDb on my phone, was scrolling through Tom Selleck stuff, and this movie popped up, and I completely forgot that it existed. But when I saw the poster of it, I'm like, oh yeah, something clicked in my brain. I had seen this movie before. I had a vague memory of these little spider-like robots. I remembered the climax had to do with like this high-rise elevator thing. I couldn't quite remember all the details. Thought I had a vague memory of robots going crazy, but I couldn't quite put the details together in my head. So I thought, hey, let's give this a watch and I'll talk about it on the channel. And I am really glad that I watched this movie. One of the things I find absolutely fascinating about it is that it was written and directed by Michael Crichton. Everybody knows Michael Crichton from Jurassic Park. He wrote the novel that became the movie, which became a sequel, which became a sequel, which became a sequel, which became a whole franchise, and they're making another one.
Jurassic Park is frightening in the dark.
Everybody thinks of Michael Crichton as a novelist, and he's written some fantastic books. I've read a few of them, and a lot of them have been adapted into movies. But he had a film career. He was responsible for Westworld, not the new one, but the original Westworld, and he did some pretty interesting movies. Unfortunately, because this movie wasn't much of a success, it kind of killed his film career. And Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck was a famous TV star. He did Magnum P.I., but he wanted to be a movie star, so he kept taking movie roles, and they didn't really launch his movie career. In fact, because this movie tanked, it sort of killed Tom Selleck's movie career. The only real big movie he did after this was Three Men and a Baby, and that was a very different style of movie. But this is Tom Selleck at his Magnum P.I. level of fame, and it was really interesting to see him try to do a serious science fiction role. This movie had some other interesting casting choices. Kirstie Alley played a woman who Tom Selleck had to rescue, and it turned out she was rather an important character with the plot of the movie as far as the computer technology and so forth. None other than Kiss's Gene Simmons played the bad guy who wanted Kirstie Alley's character dead. And Gene Simmons in this movie delivers a rather interesting performance. He's not really doing a good job of acting, but what he is doing a good job of is being a villain. He has a creepy looking stare when he looks directly at the camera. He is believable as the psychopathic Luther character who wants to acquire the technology to take over the computers. It's really interesting to see him play a villain. And the technology in the movie is another thing that's fairly interesting. Yes, we get a lot of science fiction stuff that isn't quite accurate. The 80s tech doesn't really look modern from a 2020s perspective, but they get a lot of things right. They have a kid in bed with a tablet. I empathize with that. I have a 6-year-old who loves his technology. It's kind of hard to pull him away from that. But to have a kid watching entertainment on a tablet screen rather than a television, well, they predicted that correctly. They show the police using an aerial drone. That's something that really wasn't done in the 80s, but it certainly is done now. They showed police using semi-automatic weapons instead of revolvers. They predicted that correctly as well. It seemed to get the internet more or less right. It predicted the future fairly well for the 1980s, so not bad there. Some of the other tech didn't quite live up, but it's fun anyway, especially the bad guy's firearm. He has this pistol, which looks really cool, that doesn't just launch a bullet, it launches a rocket like a heat-seeking missile. It follows people around corners and explodes on impact. And that's a pretty neat science fiction-y thing. We get the bullet eye point of view in several shots, which I appreciated as well. That was really well done. Michael Crichton did a good job as director. He captured the visuals very well. The climax was very tense and suspenseful. As a guy with a real fear of heights, I empathized with our protagonist up on the elevator. And there's a couple standout moments as well. There was real tension and real suspense when the robot went nuts with the firearm, killed the parents, and they have to rescue a kid from a robot that's holding this big honking revolver. And it delivers actual suspense, actual tension. It's a good scene. It's competently filmed. And the writing is good, and I guess that shouldn't be a surprise because Michael Crichton is a novelist. He obviously can write, but the dialogue is well written. The plot is well written and constructed. There are actual things to be rooting for in the movie, and there's actual things to be afraid of in the movie. So Michael Crichton did a very good job writing and directing this film. One thing that didn't really work is how seriously the movie takes itself. There are no lighthearted moments. It's deadly serious dialogue. It's a deadly serious topic. Everybody is serious about the job, which is very serious.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
And that's understandable given the subject matter of it, but it could have had a few lighthearted moments, something to break the tension here and there. The movie is so serious that it's hard to take it seriously. The actors deliver good performances, except for Gene Simmons from Kiss, who's very wooden, but you know what? That actually works for his character here. I really enjoyed this film. I wish it gets more attention today than it does. It slipped through the cracks. There's only so many movies that can be famous, and this movie just didn't survive the test of time. But it's a really interesting time capsule to go back and look at what the 1980s thought the future would be like, and Michael Crichton got a lot of it right, to his credit. And there's quite a few action sequences I really enjoyed. There's a chase sequence where they have these little mini car robots that are zipping around trying to get the good guys, and they have these computer screens built into the windshield, which is another piece of future tech that I thought worked really well. And the little spider robots steal the show. Whenever I have these little spider robots on the screen, phenomenal. They are not complicated. They're very simple, actually, but they're believable when they have these little spikes sticking out of them that they could actually be quite deadly. It works. Another plot point that doesn't quite make sense is I don't quite understand the job that the police department has with the runaways. When a robot goes rogue, they call it a runaway, and they send this team of police officers to go capture the robots. Seems like an odd job for law enforcement. I don't know why they would actually need police. There's a sequence where farming equipment goes rogue and the police show up to basically take out this piece of farming equipment. Doesn't really seem like a law enforcement type job. I get why they had to have it be law enforcement because there's the criminal investigation when it comes to finding out what this evil Luther guy is doing, and Tom Selleck has to investigate things, and I get the law enforcement aspect there, but the squad of people that just sort of take care of robots that are malfunctioning really doesn't seem like a cop thing. I guess it's a science fiction version of animal control, which I guess is a law enforcement thing, so maybe I'm wrong, but it just seemed weird to me. I like the family dynamic. I like that Tom Selleck's character has a kid. I like the household robots. They're not very humanoid. There's these little square boxes that do stuff. But hey, it worked. The biggest thing holding the movie back is how seriously the movie takes itself, which is a shame. But I overall quite enjoyed the movie. I won't give it my highest possible ranking, but it is a good movie. It's worth taking a look. I recommend it. I really enjoyed the film. I don't think I'll watch it again because it's really, really dry, but I did enjoy watching the film. Let me know in the comments what you think. Did you like the movie Runaway? Are there any other forgotten 80s classics that I should go back and take a look at? It would really help a young channel if you'd hit that like and subscribe button and maybe share this video if you're so inclined. Until next time, thank you for watching Eric Wilfred Watson's Reaction Lounge.